broadcast, a compilation of news headlines making rounds dear nation. Today, Thursday, the 21st of September, 2017. My name is Oluwa Mayomikun, and it's always a pleasure to have you join us. We have a very robust package for you, as usual. So I'll just take a moment and share this on my timeline. I also encourage you to do the same so that we can have as much exposure as possible. The more people see, the more people get informed. And then that's our priority, to make sure that people are informed. And when you're informed, you take an informed decision. You know what is going on. You're not just commenting for commenting's sake. You're not just chiming in into a discussion just because you have to talk, but because you know the details of the issue under discourse. So, all right, so I'll just share this in a minute and then we would go to our broadcast for this morning. Okay, thank you to those who have already joined us. All right, join us now. Okay. All right, just a moment. I'm sharing to my timeline. Okay. All right, I think, okay, it's shared now, so I think we can continue in our discussion, or no, in our news item, news compilation for today. Okay, all right, we're good to go. President Muhammadu Buhari and some other African leaders were on Wednesday hosted by US President Donald Trump. The working lunch for the African leaders is on the sidelines of the 72nd UN General Assembly in New York. Trump, who said he was greatly honored to host the lunch, which took place at the New York Palace Hotel, described African leaders as partners for promoting prosperity and peace. Trump hopes to extend his country's economic partnerships with nations who are committed to self-reliance and to fostering opportunities for job creation in both Africa and the United States. Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo has emphasized the need for Nigerians to constantly praise God, as they have so much to praise Him for. He said this in an interview on the sideline of a 400-hour non-stop praise and worship organized by Hallelujah Nigeria in conjunction with other churches to usher in Nigeria's 57th independence anniversary. Osinbajo says he has time to praise in spite of his schedule of work, and of course he said everything depends on the one who created us. Speaking on the significance of the event, Pastor Oluseyin Malomo, the chaplain of the Astor Villa Chapel, said the program is an acknowledgement of the goodness of God for Nigeria, to thank God for the life of Nigeria for celebrating 57 years, still being together in spite of the challenges. The cleric also adds that it is to thank God for bringing Nigeria out of recession, and most importantly to rejoice with all Nigerians that he brought back President Muhammadu Buhari safely to the country. A group, Advocacy for Societal Rights Advancement, a group, Advocacy for Societal Rights Advancement and Development Initiative, has written President Muhammadu Buhari demanding the details of the president's medical bill for the period of 104 days that is spent in the United Kingdom receiving treatment for an undisclosed ailment. The group made this demand in a letter dated September 12, written pursuant to the Freedom of Information Act 2011. Asradi, that's the group, in the letter signed by its executive director Adeolu Oyinloye, also wants Buhari to disclose how much was spent on parking the presidential aircraft at Stansted Airport for the entire 104 days that the president spent in the UK. The group also reminds Buhari that by the provision of the Freedom of Information Act, it is entitled to a response from the president within 7 days. The letter to Buhari was backed with another one addressed to the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, wherein the group seeks to know how much of foreign currency was released for the president's medical treatment. Civil society organizations, including Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, (SERAP), will today, Thursday, meet with the Senate President Bukola Saraki to discuss the earnings of lawmakers. Deputy Director of SERAP, Adewale Timothy, said in a statement on Wednesday that the meeting is at the instance of the Senate President, who had indicated his intention to clear the air on the perennial controversy surrounding lawmakers' earnings. Recall that the chairman of the Presidential Advisory Committee Against Corruption, Professor Itesage, had recently claimed that the Nigerian senator gets 29 million naira in monthly pay. Following this, SERAP had written to Saraki asking him to either confirm Sage's claim or give the true position of things. In reacting to the development, the special advisor to Saraki on new media, Bamikole Omishore, has said on Sunday in Abuja that the Senate President wishes to meet with SERAP and other CSOs to give the details of lawmakers' earnings. Okay, we'll monitor that and see how it goes. Hopefully before the end of today, Nigerians will know how much their lawmaker earns monthly. Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has begun a fresh probe of a former governor of Akwa Ibom State, Godswill Akpabio, over allegations that gave a gift of 1.4 billion naira to a bank for unknown reasons. The EFCC, it was learned, had written to the bank to explain why the governor allegedly gave it such a gift. However, it was learned that the Akwa Ibom State government dragged EFCC before the court, challenging its right to investigate state matters. A detective at the commission said, and I quote, "Among several allegations that are already in the public domain, the commission has made some progress in investigating the circumstances in which Akpabio in 2013 paid 566,883,728 naira and, of course, another 441,808,000, and the third tranche is 392,631,943 naira as gifts to a new generation bank. Well, investigations revealed that the state government had ignored 7 requests from the EFCC asking for the release of officials of the government for interrogation as part of the ongoing investigation into the activities of Akpabio, who is now the Senate Minority Leader. Anyway, when contacted, Akpabio's media aide, Anete Ekong, said his boss will not join issues with anybody since the Commissioner for Justice and Attorney General of Akwa Ibom State had clarified the issue. Okay, the untouchables, wouldn't you say? Let's go on. Nigerian Communications Commission says it remitted a total of 133.4 billion naira to the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the federal government in the last 2 years. A statement from NCC's spokesman, Tony Ojobo, Wednesday said the Commission's last remittance to the Consolidated Revenue Fund, which was on June 30 this year, was 12.7 billion naira, and it came just less than 10 days after the NCC remitted the sum of 1.3 billion naira to the account. Ojobo said the NCC last year transferred 20 billion naira and another 15 billion naira in March before remitting 29.5 and 16.5 billion in December of 2016. All these figures are in billion too. Ojobo stressed that the quarterly contribution of the telecom sector to the GDP has been consistently impressive between 2015 and now. Although NCC's primary role is not to generate revenue for the government, but to nurture and regulate the industry, figures obtained from the Commission show impressive remittance of funds to the coffers of the consolidated revenue of the federal government, especially in the last 2 years. That's commendable. JAMB is remitting, NCC is remitting more than ever before. Other agencies too are remitting. I think we're doing fine in getting people to be more accountable and more transparent and contributing, of course, to this pot of soup. More than 12 years after they were laid off following the liquidation of the national carrier, Nigerian Airways staff are to be paid their entitlements. Minister of State for Aviation Hadi Sirika told journalists after the meeting of the Federal Executive Council yesterday that 45 billion naira has been approved for the settlement of the former workers' entitlements. He said government regrets the deaths of some workers of the defunct airline occasioned by the delay in the payment of their entitlements. You may recall that the defunct Nigerian Airways was liquidated by former President Olusegun Obasanjo's regime in 2005, and the workers, as they've been embarking on protests nationwide over their unpaid entitlements. The minister also said that the council approved the procurement of operational vehicles for Nigerian Port Authority and the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency. Sirika said he briefed the council on the certifications of the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos, and the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, noting that both certificates are huge achievements towards security and safety in the aviation sector. He disclosed that the airport is the first international airport in Nigeria to meet the requirement by the International Civil Aviation Organization and NCAA regulations. On aviation workers' opposition to the concessioning of the nation's airports, the minister assures that the process will be transparently carried out, saying workers will also be engaged in the process. He stated that government could no longer fund infrastructure in the aviation sector through public budget, hence will continue to partner with the private sector in financing such infrastructural facilities. The minister also revealed that the council has approved the hosting of International Civil Aviation Organization, that's ICAO, World Aviation Conference to be held between November 20 and 22. He said the conference, which will be the first outside Canada, is meant to deliberate on aviation infrastructure and other related aviation matters. For his part, Minister of Labour and Employment Chris Ngige said he briefed the Federal Executive Council on the outcomes of the various industrial actions embarked upon by some trade unions in the country. The minister dismissed the insinuation that he once described United Labour Congress, that's ULC, as an illegal labor union, saying that the Congress has since applied for registration as a labor center or a labor federation. He also commends the Academic Staff Union of Universities and the Resident Doctors Association for suspending their strike action. Meanwhile, by Courtney Aviation Services Limited, operators of the Murtala Mohammed Airport Terminal 2, yesterday rejected the accusation allegedly made by protesting airport workers that the company is preparing to take over the airports being proposed for concession in collaboration with Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo without following due process. By Courtney, in a statement by its spokesman, Steve Omolale, describes the accusation as provocative, unwarranted, and selfish, even as it stressed that it has demonstrated in the last 10 years its management of MMA2 that he has the capacity to manage the other airports to be concessioned. Okay, how do we interpret that? Oh, no, I'm not interested in the concessioning. But you know what? I can actually manage it. I can actually do it. Anyway, let's go on. Minister of Health, Professor Isaac Adewale, has said that Zamfara State, with 24 state hospitals, has only 23 doctors managing these health institutions. This, the minister notes, has been negatively affecting healthcare delivery in the state. He therefore argued that state governments need to enter into agreements with the federal government so that doctors working in federal establishments across the country could be deployed in state hospitals to assist. Adewale said there are many states across the nation which do not have enough state doctors but have many federal medical personnel who are not being used. The health minister said this in Abuja on Tuesday during the signing of a memorandum of understanding between the Sokoto state government and the federal government-owned Usman Danfodio University Teaching Hospital, Sokoto, on strategic partnership for the enhancement of health care delivery in Sokoto state. That's a very funny one. In the whole of Zamfara, well, there are 24 state hospitals, but there are only 23 doctors. I mean, how come? How come? And I'm sure there are so many doctors that would love to, go and work. So what could be responsible for that? Well, if you're up to it, you could leave your comment there as we, bring to you any of this news item. A report by the World Health Organization has confirmed serious lack of new antibiotics under development to combat growing threat of antimicrobial resistance. The report launched yesterday revealed that most drugs currently in clinical pipeline are modifications of existing classes of antibiotics and are only short-term solutions. It found very few potential treatment options for those antibiotic-resistant infections identified by WHO as posing the greatest threat to health, including drug-resistant tuberculosis, which kills around 250,000 people each year. To counter this threat, WHO and Drugs for Neglected Diseases Initiative has set up the Global Antibiotic Research and Development Partnership known as GADP. On 4th of September this year, Germany, Luxembourg, the Netherlands, South Africa, Switzerland, and the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, and the Wellcome Trust pledged more than £56 million for this work. Okay, antibiotics are getting resistant, or let me say some infections are getting resistant to the antibiotics that we have now. And WHO says that there are no new, the researches that are ongoing for maybe new antibiotics now really are not different from the antibiotics they are researching on, are not different from the ones that have, already been in circulation, or some that have even proven some that the diseases have proven resistant to. But yes, it's good that at least they've come together and they are partnering to actually ensure that we have more options of antibiotics, especially when it comes to the treatment of tuberculosis and some other diseases. Okay, let's go on. Governor Aminu Waziri Tambuwal of Sokoto State has appealed to the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, to embark on oil and gas exploration in the Sokoto Inland Sedimentary Basin with a view to establishing the volume and value of hydrocarbon deposits there. Governor Tambuwal, who led a high-powered Sokoto State delegation to the NNPC towers in Abuja on Wednesday, said that based on existing exploration records, it is likely that renewed search for oil in the basin would yield some positive results in the nearest future. While commending the current administration for reinvigorating the quest for oil in the new frontiers, Tambuwal notes that successful search for hydrocarbon deposits in the basin will go a long way in increasing the nation's oil reserve with the attendant value addition. Everyone wants oil and everyone wants to explore for oil. Nothing bad. All the better for the nation. Delta State government has approved the release of 600 million naira as a counterpart fund for the implementation of the 2017 Sustainable Development Goals cycle in the state. State Commissioner for Information Patrick Uka, who disclosed this to newsmen in Asaba, said it is part of the resolutions reached at the State Executive Council meeting held on Tuesday in Asaba. Uka said the council also approved the construction and rehabilitation of more roads across the state to open up linkages between rural communities and urban centers. He also said that at the completion of the roads, agrarian communities will be encouraged to evacuate their produce to various markets in line with Governor Ifeanyi Okowa's agenda of prosperity for all Deltans. Bank of Industry has disbursed loans in excess of 47 billion naira to support Kaduna State industrialists in the micro, small, and medium enterprises categories. This was revealed by the managing director of the bank, Olukayode Pito, during a meeting with the Kaduna State Governor. The BOI boss said the loan facilities have so far created over 84,500 direct and indirect jobs across the state. Pito added that the funds spanned across various sectors of the state's economy, such as agro-business, petrochemical and gas, metal fabrication, infrastructure, and solid minerals. Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai attributed the slow pace of CAD step to the attitude of the people who often see government money as a political largesse. In order to address this, he assured the bank delegation that efforts are in the offing to conduct an enlightenment program in the state to educate the people to imbibe the culture of loan repayment. Kaduna State has uncovered a salary fraud amounting to 12.7 million naira in two parastatals in the state. A statement by Mustafa Fagi, the PRO office of the state head of service, said the fraud was uncovered in the State Hospital Management Board and Senior Secondary Schools Management Board. The discovery follows an investigation ordered by the head of civil service, Muhammad Naya. 22 cases was discovered from the State Health Management Board and 2 from the State Senior Secondary Schools Management Board. Fage added that the affected officers have been served with queries in addition to appropriate disciplinary measures taken by their respective organizations. Kano and Osun state governments have declared public holiday in their respective states to mark the beginning of a new Islamic year. While Kano declared Friday, September 22nd as public holiday, Osun declared Thursday today. Kano State Commissioner for Information, Muhammad Garba, in a statement to newsmen in Kano yesterday, quotes the acting governor, Professor Hafiz Abubakar, as congratulating the people of the state and Muslims the world over for witnessing the new year. Also, Osun State Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Adelani Baderiwa, in a statement in Osogbo, quotes Governor Rauf Aregbesola as saying Osun State adopted the Islamic New Year as official public holiday on November 15, 2012. Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) yesterday threatened to invoke Section 99 of the Electoral Act 2010 as amended, which forbids electioneering campaign until 90 days to election. The new resident electoral commissioner in Ekiti State, Professor Abdulganiyu Raji, warns politicians against subtle or overt campaigns ahead of the 2018 governorship election in the state. He reminds them that if taken to court, penalty for flouting the law was either 6 months jail term or 500,000 naira fine. Some politicians at the stakeholders meeting where the money was given in mind that the situation is common to two major parties, the APC and the PDP, who resumed recently replaced Sam Olumayomikun, who was moved to Edo State prior to the 2015 governorship poll. He said the prohibition will cover jingles aired on radio and television, as well as billboards erected at strategic locations bearing the portraits of aspirants and announcing or advertising their governorship intentions. Okay. Also, INEC said that the November 18 governorship election in Anambra State will not be shifted. Beside monetary implications, the Commission said it will not allow any change in the date, as any postponement will not augur well for the process. The State Resident Electoral Commissioner, Dr. Nwachukwu Oji, who gave the announcement yesterday during a meeting with the executive members of the Interparty Advisory Council in the state, said the Commission will resist any attempt to truncate the electoral process. He cites the instances of 2015 general elections and how the polls were due to personal interests submitted in the case of Anambra State. Two artillery brigade of the Nigerian Army Akure State on Wednesday kidnappers in their den with them. Akure Owo, Assistant Director of the Nigerian Army Public Relations Captain Ujoa said the activities of the kidnappers in the area informed the action of the army, which sent its men to comb the forest where the suspected kidnappers allegedly kept their victims. Nigerian Army on Wednesday identified the Bado group and other cults as one of the security challenges too will take care of in the southwest. Public Relations Brigade insists that the military operates like the earlier operations ethnic group or group of individuals, but the Pan-Yoruba group Afenifere has condemned the planned deployment of troops in the south and southwest geopolitical zone, saying there is no basis for it. The group, speaking through its spokesman Yinka Odumakin, said it is not the duty of the military to fight crimes, noting that the military authorities should rather deploy their personnel in the northeast where their services are needed. Federal government on Wednesday vented its anger against the British government for allegedly frustrating efforts towards closing down Radio Biafra, cited in the United Kingdom. Information Minister Lai Mohammed, during a news conference held at the presidential villa in Abuja, said the Nigerian government has to no avail taken some diplomatic moves to contain activities of IPOB. Mohammed, however, decried that despite all the damages done by Radio Biafra, the British government is hiding under the right to freedom of expression. He also disclosed that the financial headquarters of IPOB is in France. Meanwhile, Justice Justice Abdul Kafarati of the Federal High Court in Abuja they endorsed the presidential order banning the indigenous people of Biafra. Kafarati, who is the acting chief judge of the court, granted the injunction in chambers. Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, had filed an ex parte application urging the court to grant the injunction. The AGF also sought an order of court proscribing IPOB in any part of Nigeria, especially in the southeast and south-south regions, either in groups or as individuals. The court said it granted the order as sought after listening to the argument of the AGF, who led 4 other senior officials of the Ministry of Justice, and after reading through the affidavits in support of the motion sworn to by CPL Kolawole Matthew of the Nigerian Army. The order is to be gazetted and published in 2 national dailies. President Muhammadu Buhari had earlier given written approval for the proscription of the group pending legal process, as governors of the southeast states took the first step to ban the activities of the group after the military had declared the separatist group a terrorist group. There was, however, controversy thereafter as to the legality of the order without a court backing. Okay, now the court has backed it, and IPOB, as we speak, has been declared a terrorist organization. So be careful who you associate with, be careful what you display, whether in flags or by what you wear or whatever. All those is signal. Anyway, the word is enough for the wise, that's what they say. Supreme Court has awarded a punitive cost of 1 million naira against sacked House of Representatives member Herman Hembe for approaching the court after its earlier judgment. Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Walter Onohe, delivering the judgment of the 5-man panel, says by the rules of the court, it is wrong to approach it to review its previous judgment, whether the said judgment is right or wrong. While frowning at the act of using technicalities to jeopardize the judiciary, the Chief Justice said the Supreme Court is not only final in its judgment but also a policy maker so as to provide a stable society. On the non-compliance of the leadership of the House of Representatives to swear in Dorothy Mato in Hembe's stead, excuse me, as ordered by the court, the CJN held that the act is an ugly paragraph in the history of Nigeria. The order for the punitive cost was made in favor of Mato, who is the respondent in the suit. The court had on June 23rd, while ordering Hembe to vacate the seat, also ruled that he should be replaced by Mato, who was declared the rightful winner of the All Progressives Congress ticket for the Vandekia Koshinsha Federal Constituency of Benue State. The Apex Court further ordered Hembe to return all salaries and benefits collected while in office to the federal government within 90 days. Well, dissatisfied with this judgment, Hembe approached the Apex Court again, asking it to refer the case to a lower court for retrial. Okay. Even me, I would award him that. I mean, the Supreme Court had ruled this way. Okay, refund all the monies that so far has accrued to you or you have collected as a result of you being in the House of Reps, because now we find that you can no longer be the one to represent the people. Okay, House of Reps, please swear in this woman. But, they refused to. And he is saying, I'll go back, he went back to the Supreme Court and is saying, transfer the case to a lower court. Let them start the process all over again. All right, that's how that went. Inspector General of Police Ibrahim Idris has said the new police duty scheme will eliminate illegal detentions, torture, and extortion of suspects at police formations across the country. He made this known yesterday in Abuja at the launch of a new force order called the Police Duty Solicitors Scheme, aimed to ensure an efficient criminal justice sector in the country. PDSS, that's the acronym, which is a tripartite scheme comprising of the Nigerian Police, Legal Aid Council of Nigeria, and Open Society Justice Initiative, is designed to protect and promote the rights of a person arrested and detained by the police to easily access legal representation. The IGP said the scheme will guarantee lawyers engaged by the Legal Aid Council access to persons arrested and detained in police stations across the country. He added that both the force and the general public stand to benefit from this scheme. The public, mainly the poor and the vulnerable, arrested by the police for being in conflict with the law. He explained that they will not only have the service of a council free of charge, it is ensured that their rights will be protected. Okay, on one hand, we've heard that bail is free. Our police is now saying that, you know what, if you are arrested, for any reason, you have access to free legal representation. That's a good one. Let's see how the implementation goes. The offer for subscription, and I think this is our last story for today. Yes, I think so. The offer for subscription of the federal government 100 billion naira sukuk, which end on Wednesday. I hope that's how it's called, sukuk, S-U-K-U-K. The offer for subscription for the federal government 100 billion naira sukuk, which ended on Wednesday, has been extended by 2 more days, according to a circular from the Debt Management Office. DMO says apart from serving as alternative source of funding for the government, the sukuk will also serve to diversify the investor base for federal government securities, promote financial inclusion, and deepen the domestic capital market. The debt office says the proceeds from the sukuk issuance will be used to finance specific broad projects. Sukuk are asset-based securities, not debt instruments, and represent ownership in a tangible asset, service, project, business, or joint venture. The debut sovereign sukuk is for 100 billion naira with a tenure of 7 years and has been certified as ethically compliant by the Financial Regulation Advisory Council of Experts of the Central Bank of Nigeria. Already the Federal Bank, First Bank of Nigeria Merchant Bank, already FBN Merchant Bank Limited, and I think that belongs to First Bank. Already FBN Merchant Bank Limited and Lotus Financial Services Limited have been appointed as joint financial advisors to the Debt Management Office for the inaugural 100 billion naira sukuk offer. All right, that's the much we can take today, but that's about, sorry, excuse me. Someone is cooking something that is actually getting into my throat. I think so. Okay, so that's about it. We've brought you like 24 stories in all, and we hope that we've been able to inform you. It's a pleasure joining us every morning to get informed. Do well to join, to help us share this post and tell others about this page. Like it and tell your friends to also like it, so we can do much more. My name is Oluwa Mayomikun. Enjoy the rest of your day, and let's do this again tomorrow, God willing. Bye for now.